There we go.
You start this
Armchair.
time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of Armchair Keepers of Arcane Secrets. And I am your host, Bob Geis, with my co-host, the illustrious, the legendary.
It's Bob Geis from U2 Can Cthulhu. Sure.
That is not true.
My
That's the
wife would
legendary
be
Matt Ryan there, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who
my
don't
wife would be
know.
so proud I'm showing my gut off to our 101 subscribers. We've been hanging at 101. Folks, you're killing me. We've had 2 weeks of 101. We've been super happy we got to
That's
101.
right.
We don't want to look a gift camel in the mouth, but come on, can we get one more subscriber?
We need that net, right? If we dip back below 100, all of the bets are off. All of the promises we made are off.
Hostage. I'm Matt Ryan. So here we are. Here we are. This is episode, what are we at? 17?
Let's say 17.
We'll go call it 17. Let me make a note of that for the editing process, of which there is none. This is a session recap, Bob.
That's right. That's right. So a session recap because I had my first London journey. We crossed the pond and made it to London.
Tell us about it. Tell us what happened.
All right. So, it started off really well. So, this week we welcomed a new player, right? Again, I've always been, angsty about the group dynamic that I've been dealing with because we have a small group. And so we welcomed another player. So now I'm up to a total of what now? 6 players.
Now, who's the player? Can we do official armchair
Yeah.
welcome? Who is it?
Yeah, this is Perry. Perry is one of my GMs who works with me in U2 Can Cthulhu. He is 100% reliable. He is the guy who says, Bob, I'm going to do this, and I never have to even give it a second thought. I love Perry. He's been with us for years.
Welcome, Perry. Welcome to the experience that is
And
Masks of
also
Nyarlathotep.
think about this. You know what it's like. This campaign's like. Perry's joining and just as they're getting to London, they've already gone through New York. And so that dude had to drink through a fire hose, consume all of the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society props, and process all of that information. And he either faked it like he knew everything that was going on or processed all that stuff and was up to speed and part of the group immediately. It was fantastic.
Well, he's a pro. He's done this.
He's a pro. He's a pro. And so we
go ahead.
We were able to use some of the mechanics that we that are on for the journey. And so now, if you remember, like your crew, my crew also got the books from the Carlisle or from the Carlisle safe in that library.
Juicy stuff.
And so, I went in and I, as I always do, read the rules for the tomes and all that stuff. It's like, oh, this is how this works. Wow.
It takes years to read the damn
well,
things.
there's really, really good rules for it. There's like this, basically there's, at least this is how I interpreted it. You can read it enough to make like to get like an initial read, to get like an initial taste of the mythos from it. And that makes the book a functional tool for the campaign. And
Agreed.
That if I recall correctly, that is the duration for that is up to the keeper, right? And so I basically gave them the voyage. They could dedicate the voyage to reading a book. They couldn't read all the books, but one player could read a book, right? So
that's
and
what
they
I
had
did.
enough. Yep. And they had enough books where they could distribute them around. Did your people come away with any spells?
Yes.
Okay.
The one, but I trim spells because I think D&D has wrecked the idea of spell casting characters because people think they can just rattle a spell off like it's, like a fireball or something.
Yeah.
So I give them out sparingly and I make them complicated. You can't just read a spell and then cast it. Right. No, there's things that you have to do. One spell, I can't remember what it was. I told them as they read this, there was a requirement, a 2-week period of purification before casting the spell, and then an immediate debauch. I just left that to the player's imagination.
That's fantastic. I got lucky I didn't even have to go into that level of mental processing because my players rolled so poorly in the attempt to get the spells because I think they have to make a language roll and they were just rolling abysmally at that point. So I didn't have to worry about it. It's like, oh, that's good. No complications there. So then they got to London and just like your group, just like your group, they immediately hightailed it to the Penhew Foundation and pushed people out of their way in their desperation to confess all their sins before Edward Gavigan, right? But again, I'm being a little bit facetious because they played it pretty cool for a while, and then they just
For a minute, for a minute.
yeah, then they stopped and just said, "So, does the word Nyarlathotep mean anything to you?" It's like, "Oh, no, no, not at all."
They said that. Oh, that's good. Did
And
you have
then,
the hat fly off his head? Woo!
so no, again, I'm playing him differently than you are.
Yes.
I'm playing him as if they, I am my Gavin, and I don't know if I've mentioned this on this thing. My Gavin is going to be this fellow who was born wealthy, then was cut off by his family for a long period of time, but has recently come back into that money and is now indulging in every whim that he was not able to do while he was cut off. So he's going to have some serious addictions that he is dealing with. At just the wrong time because again a lot of what I'm going to be really pushing for is that competition with the owner of the spice shop who is trying
Yeah.
to usurp him and
Yeah.
so his recent explorations into substances is going to have compromised his ability to lead and so that's going to give her the leverage to pop him out and so again the lever that she is going to use is the players uh, so that's going to come to play
Which is a
most likely.
suggestion from the text.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a great idea. I love it, and I'm totally planning on exploiting it. But so they went in, confessed all their sins, and then they asked Edward Gavigan, "Okay, what should we do next?" in terms of research. And so he said, "Well, you're in London. You should go to the British Museum, but you'll need a reading pass." Oh, but we don't have a reading pass. No problem. I can help you with this. Where are you staying so I can send this to you? And of course, they told him. So there you go.
It's beautiful. That's a beautiful play. A beautiful. And now have they realized that that was a false step?
I don't, I think, yeah, I think so. They may have by the end of the session because they did that fairly early on where he was able to get the location of where they're staying. And then he took them on the most boring, pedantic tour of the finds upstairs, which I love playing out. And and then they left. Because again, we were able to play for longer, about 3 hours, but still didn't make a ton of progress. Really, only completed the ocean voyage and that scene. Again, because we had to spend some time getting Perry up to speed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was my recap, and so we're ready, raring to go for next time. Unfortunately, despite our raring to go, we are not going to be playing again until the 29th.
That's funny because that's ditto with me because
Oh,
the fates have us conspired against us. Is that the right word?
I
And
think
we're not going
so.
to play until the 30th.
Oh yeah, same,
Half
same.
of my
Yeah.
team, well, a quarter of my team in 2 weeks is going to some minis convention in Connecticut where they're going to push little lead dolls around and don't you love when nerds make fun of other nerds? I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
My favorite thing. And then my wife wants to go see a quilting something or other, and then another guy who I found out recently is the world's best player at the game Starfleet Battles.
Wow.
Do you know Starfleet Battles?
That's old, isn't it?
It's an old Star Trekky game where you're like, I don't know, piloting Klingons around or something and shooting
Sure,
at each
sure.
other. Anyways, he's won multiple world conventions.
Nice. Well, that's a
And
title you have to defend, right?
yeah. I was at a con and somebody came up, hey, do you know Pete Bakia? I'm like, yeah, yeah. So well done, Pete. Anyways, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, so we're
The
not playing for a
delays,
month.
yes.
And
Yeah. Well, that's good though. That's good. I mean, I won't get any further behind.
You won't now here, but here's the other thing too. I think that with these chapters, the beginning takes a long time, right?
Yep.
Because they don't know what to do. So there's a lot of like floundering around. Well, we're gonna go and then there's the mysterious clue dumps. Where am
Yep.
I gonna find the bucket of clues?
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
in
Yep.
England, right, the bucket of clues is in the secret room, in the Penhew
Oh yeah,
Foundation.
that's right. No, good point. Yeah, sorry. Let me go back to my recap. They did this one Perry is playing the pre-gen who is an engineer, right? And so when they left the Penhew Foundation, he found the apparatus for the external ventilation system that
That didn't
that
make any sense to
that
him.
didn't make any sense. Yeah, so they do have inklings that there's something fishy about the Penhew Foundation.
Oh, that's good. That's a good way to play that. Because as I read that, I thought, how the hell is anybody going to figure this out?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So they have some ideas.
but then again, I just cut right to the chest and I made my Gavigan a bumbling
Well,
fool.
that
Okay.
definitely, I mean, that's good.
All right. So we're at the halfway point because there's going to be a lot of cursing in my recap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Crazy. So you know that I'm all about chases lately, right? Because I'm experimenting with chases and I ended with 4 of the investigators creepy crawling the Penhew basement that we were just talking about, and the other 2 having cocktails with Gavigan's personal secretary, Kinnery, in the Blue Pyramid. And I thought, well, this would be great to kick off a chase scene. The player characters love to run away from things,
Yep.
and I can chase them, and I can chase them in both locations. Okay, so the Penhew basement, 4 of them, and including the guy that loves to snoop around for spell books. He's the guy that I'm sort of cautious with handing spells out to. And I know there's spell books down in the foundation.
Oh yeah.
Now, because I wanted to run a chase, I changed some things. I took the thing in the fog creature and I stuck him in this secret little jug down in the basement as kind of like a guardian. And if
Hmm.
they opened the jug, the creature would pop out and chase
Like a
them.
genie.
Like a genie, like a tentacled, invisible genie that chokes people to death.
No difference.
So the 4 of them, well, no, Casey, who's playing Breezy Tixel, the cowboy, the stuntman cowboy, stayed at the top of the stairs. Didn't want to go
That's
down.
excellent.
The
Yep.
other 3 go down. They're Oh, look, here's a desk. Here's a bookshelf. Here's an ornate chest. And I swapped out the stupid daggers that lets you summon a dimensional shambler. That's never going to happen in any of my games. Are we going to summon a dimensional shambler?
I well, I think that's a great opportunity. You don't call it a dimensional shambler. You call it something slightly enticing that they'll do at an inopportune moment and let the cards fall where they
Let it
may.
tear their. Okay, so I've got this ornate chest. That's where the trap is. That's where the trap is. Okay, so I've got 3 players. The one person goes, "Oh, I go to the desk," and the other one goes, "Oh, I go to the bookshelf to see what's there." And then the guy who loves finding the magic spells goes, "Well, I head straight for that ornate chest." And he opens it up, and there's a jug inside, and he goes, "Oh, a jug." I open it up, and I said, "Oh, okay, well, let's just pause right there for a second." So here's the clue dump in the desk. There's 4
Oh
juicy
yeah.
clues. All right.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
make
Yep.
sure that they have those 4 juicy clues.
Good
And
call.
then so I give them to the one player. The other player is going through the bookcase, and I say, "Well, what languages do you read?" And they
Hmm.
read a couple of relevant languages. So I go, "Okay, here's 2 books. Here's 2 books." Uh, and then the dude opens the jug, right?
Nice.
And then instantly we're in a chase scene. See, and then you know me, right? So I like to make these little like
Oh my gosh.
isometric
Look at that.
schematics. So here's the basement down here. And they've got let's see, I'm doing this backwards. Run up the stairs, run through the secret room, navigate this bullshit, and then go out. And if they
Yep.
get over the fence, they're safe.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. So what happened is the thing comes out, the one character, everybody runs away except for the one character who they sacrifice themselves, kind of. They throw somebody else up the stairs first, and then the thing in the fog with 6 attacks just jams all these tentacles up the character's nose. The character can't breathe, and then the character fails a sanity check.
Yeah.
and faints.
Oh,
And this was 20 minutes into the session.
all right. Plenty of time to create a new character.
So let's put a pin in the rest of my recap. Because here's a question to keepers. I'm sitting there. It's 20 minutes into a 3-hour session with the player who has the least experience with Call of Cthulhu, the player who cannot go off into a room by himself and make a character.
Well, there's a Dole's house.
Ha!
There you go.
Bob is referring to the excellent online source where you can just dial up a character and download it and play that character. I opted, so he fainted, and I opted not to kill him so that the tentacle creature could chase the other beings, the other investigators, and they got away. They ran away with all their goodies, right? And then I paused that sequence and I went over to the Blue Pyramid Club. And the Blue Pyramid Club, right? We're having another chase, and here we go. Here's another chase scene that I drew.
Oh,
Where they're starting here having cocktails, and they've got to run through the building and then down these stairs and through these people and get on here it is, double-decker bus.
wow.
They're on the double-decker bus and they're safe. That scene, oh, before we get to the runaway part. So the two characters are sitting there having cocktails, and I have Gavigan show up. So they get to sit down and talk more with bumbling Gavigan, who's got food all over him.
Oh my God.
Invites them again to his party on Saturday. And then they start making like travel arrangements. And he says, well, we live quite a ways out of town. I could send a car and pick you up, or you could hire a car. So then the chase scene happens. They get away. It's awful fun. You know, they like running away and navigating how they get out. That's all fun. We zip back to the Penhew Foundation. The three characters get out, but the fourth investigator, you don't see him again. So they have to kind of sneak back in, rescue him, and then come out. And they do. And then we're about like an hour and change in, and I've got all of the characters together. And with the clues that I handed out, it went pretty close to how I thought it would go. And again, this is like the magician in me, you know, forcing the juicy clues to the top of the deck so that those are the ones that they kind of follow. It was a lot of role playing. They went to the warehouse where the weird machinery was being shipped and going to the Ivory Wind to get sent to Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. They meet with Lars, the captain, who talks like a pirate, or at least he does in the Ithaca campaign. And then they convince Lars by buying him drinks to look at all of the stuff from the Penhew Foundation. And Lars says, sure, let's go aboard the Ivory Wind and open crates up. So they do. So they see the weird statues. They see where it's all addressed to. They're thinking Australia, China. And then they see all the weird machinery, and that's coming from this manufacturing company, and they're putting together, we've got a receipt from this manufacturing company. What's happening with this manufacturing company? So the seeds are planted. Let me take a little sip here.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic stuff. I mean, so it is interesting. I have so much blood on my hands from all of the investigators I've killed, right?
Over the years.
Over the years, yes. I mean, and so even with my small group, there will be blood. They've just been lucky so far. They've been incredibly lucky because they know to suspect no mercy from me. But they got lucky. They got lucky. In that New York chapter, they did. But yeah, I mean that thing in the fog, that was a tricky deal. That could have got that guy good.
Well, yeah, and if it had been later in the night, it would have been the end of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that had happened later, so that wasn't great timing on my part.
No, again, it's one of those things you never know when something like that is going to go down, right? And it could have happened later, but the inquisitive player jumped right at the bait, right?
Headed straight for it. So I think it would be a great idea. And what I might do is come up with just 2 or 3 backup characters. For example, the New York chapter has the Hellfighters. There's the,
Yeah.
so the New York chapter, you kind of got replacement NPC, or, replacement investigators right there.
I would also encourage you to look at the pre-gens. The pre-gens are rock solid. They really are. Three of my characters. Wait. Well, okay. So at least two characters, or no, three of my players are playing pre-gens, and they're fine. They're solid characters.
And they can pop in and anywhere along the journey.
Sure.
Sure. Right. The answer is sure.
And also, I mean, for one, another thing that may be advantageous for that player that you mentioned specifically is these are optimized player characters, if you will. They are not like, somebody who is like, I'm an expert in this useless skill. Like I have a pilot. I'm sorry, you're never going to get to fly a plane in this campaign that
I have
I
a
can
pilot
see.
too. I have a pilot too. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a and again, players love that. I have to say, I don't know if I just now am catching on that Casey is playing a stuntman cowboy, but that is amazing. I love that. My compliments. That is a fantastic character.
But she's also playing a lot because she doesn't want her character to die. So she's played enough Call of Cthulhu to know that the safest place is deep in the pack. So Breezy doesn't take a whole lot of chances. Although in a fight, Breezy's a pretty handy lad to have around.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, those it's the middle of the pack pairs. You can't be too cautious. You can't be too reckless, right?
It's true. It's the balance. But that's not where we ended. They of course they go back to the wherever they're staying. They're talking about what is next, and we've got like a day or something, whatnot. And then I said, well, if nothing really happens, we'll just move into in-game Saturday when the big party is. And they all said, yeah, okay. So we went to the friggin' party, and I have a player. One of the players, Meredith, just loved it. She loved the description. She loved the driving 50 miles to get out in the swampland. She loved like the dark, dense, overgrown woods, the spongy ground. She loved the cars showing up, and then people are walking into Mizir house, right? And the way that I played it is there's a butler standing there, and he's saying, men to the left, women to the right, for where you can change into your costumes. And the costume is a black robe and a mask and nothing else. So then I went, there was a costume change, and you might viewers, you might have seen these pictures on the Facebook, or I might even use the one of me for the title
Now
page
you should. Yes, our viewers deserve it.
of me in a black hooded bathrobe with a black mask. But they loved it. They loved the costume change. They loved the idea that they're not going to necessarily know who the people in the crowd are. And then of course so we're right at the end of the night. So I kind of speeded along because somehow some of them are hiding guns on themselves. And we'll get into how that's actually, I want to know where that sawed off shotgun is hid. But then people are moving out into the back where there's the huge Stella, the obelisk thing. And then there's I've got a band there playing, and there's even a buffet table and a booze table.
I like that this is a catered event. I would
go. So mayhem will ensue. And if I'm lucky, on the 30th, I'm going to be able to figure out how to have some sort of pre-climactic scene at the ceremony, and then quickly hustle things to the manufacturing plant.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I haven't thought that through yet. I absolutely want Zara or Zahar or whatever her name is from Empire Spice. She somehow has to be involved in all this because they are terrified of her.
Okay.
They are terrified of her.
Interesting. Oh, I can't wait.
And I'm already having her make these serpentine movements when she moves through a crowd or whatnot, or how she locks gaze with them. I'll use the metaphor like a cobra locking eyes with a mongoose. So they're already calling her the snake lady. That's how they refer to her. And when they get the blueprints that say the Pale Viper, I think
Oh,
conclusions will be jumped.
yes, yes, yes. No, that's fantastic. I can't wait. No, I'm looking forward to the next session. There was discussion of a long all day session at some point or another, so we can get up to speed.
Oh, wow.
Uh, you
An
know,
epic Geiser.
yeah. Well, again, the summer's coming up. I love to have little events like that.
Very nice. Now, so we're talking about the props here with the Pale Viper. It would be cool, Bob, if we had somebody that had those props.
You know what would be amazing?
What
Like
would be amazing?
if there was like a huge prop. Now that couldn't. There could never be like a giant box of all these props that we've never seen before.
Here's my dream scenario that there's a super giant deluxe prop box, and
Yeah.
we get somebody who's a huge fan and maybe the president of the company
Yeah, I know
to
somebody
show
like
us
that.
those props and to talk about the history of the campaign Masks of Nyarlathotep. And perhaps
That's
this person has a copy of the original boxed set still in the shrink.
that would be epic.
Of course, I'm talking about Rick Meintz, who is the president of Chaosium Inc. And many of our subscribers have met Rick. Rick goes to a lot of shows. Rick and I work the booth a lot. Rick and Bob are going to work the booth together coming up at Origins
That's right.
in lovely Columbus, Ohio, here
That's
in
right.
sometime in the summer.
I'm gonna be an official booth babe.
You'll get a T-shirt.
That's right.
Uh, you got the
I'm
shirt
gonna be
before I got the shirt.
gonna be cut
But
off.
that's right, folks. Next week, because there isn't going to be a game because Bob and we're not going to be able to play to the end of the month. We're going to augment these session plannings and recaps with some special guests, and our first special guests is Rick Meintz. So
That's
next
right.
week, the end of the week, Thursday or Friday, Rick will join us and he'll talk about the different editions of the game of the campaign, Masks of Nyarlathotep. And he's got some props that are going to blow your mind.
Yes, indeed. It's gonna be. I can't wait to see him. All right. Well, if you didn't need any more enticement to hit that like button and that subscribe button, I don't know what else could possibly be.
Cheers, Bob. Another fine episode.
Indeed. Be well,
Folks,
viewers.
we'll see you next time.